Welcome to Coffee and Change. I'm Bill Kirst. As a business professional, a U.S. veteran, a lifelong learner, and an active listener, I help others navigate, understand, and adapt to our ever-changing workplace and world. As a third culture kid, I call many places home. Presently, Seattle is where I explore my creativity through the power of words and images. In this podcast, we journey with our guests, gaining knowledge and inspiration from their stories. Hey folks, welcome back. This is episode 159, the one that wraps season 9. And today I'm super excited to reconnect with Shannan Scarselletta. Shannan and I met at IBM, her first job out of college, and I had the opportunity and privilege to work alongside her for a while. Shannan knew early on that she was going to do something different, pretty unique, and she started a company based on her experience doing improv and comedy and stand-up comedy. And that company is called Improvising. And the folks at Improvising know change is hard. But here's the secret. They got your back. They focus on transformative coaching, training, and consulting for all changing organizations. Shannan and her team of improvisers are trusted, gutsy, best-in-class executive coaches and facilitators that can help you do the hard things and have fun while doing it. Thanks for listening. If we,
Okay.
But this won't, I just want to make sure, because we're going to probably say some gems. You'll say some gems, including this one, that I need to make sure I have.
Okay, you need to look up this video, especially because you're a podcast person now.
Okay.
Amy Poehler has like Seth Meyers and Rachel Dratch and one other comedian whose name I don't remember on. And Rachel Dratch shows up late. She's got her headphones with wires just twisted all over her head. She cannot figure it out. She cannot untangle herself. And then she's like, I think I'm okay. I think we can go. And they're like, I think this is the podcast. And then while she's finally like, I think we're good, the doorbell rings. And she's like, I ordered food. And she's got more food. And she's like, the dogs are coming in and like all this stuff. It's just like, I'm like, that's how I'm gonna show up today. That's my energy.
Hey, you know what? That's what we want. That's what we
It
need in the world right now. Is real, authentic, unfiltered. So we're just going to do it.
Messy.
Messy.
Serve it up, baby. Serve it up. I got all
I'm having
those things.
I'm having like a juice this morning. So
Nice.
who knows, some acai berry. So yeah,
That's keep your regular.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
like
What do you got going
Berlin
on?
mug.
Berlin. Yes, ja genau.
I
Ich bin
love
ein
this little.
Berliner.
I don't know what you're saying. I was there for 3 days and I was facilitating an executive offsite
Okay.
while about 5 weeks postpartum. I did that.
Wow.
Mhm. In
Okay.
Berlin. So this is my memory of that adventure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how are you? It's so
Yeah.
good to see you.
It is great to see you. I'm doing really well, all things considering.
Yeah.
Like where the world is
Oh
and
yeah.
what's, just everything. And um I'm kind of winding down. I'm sure you are too, like the end of the year, and Thanksgiving was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to going nowhere for the holiday.
That sounds
And
really nice.
I'm probably saying this out loud for the first time ever, but I'm gonna be recording my book on Audible over the holiday break. So you're the first to know.
Hey, hot news, hot tea, hot coffee.
Yeah, exclusive right here and now.
That is amazing. That's so. Are you doing it at home, like where you are?
Oh yeah. Doing it from right here.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. You have a great voice for
Thank you.
podcasting and for audiobooks and everything.
Thank
You
you.
could read professionally. I really do think you could read professionally for audiobooks.
I appreciate that because that is kind of a dream job,
Yeah,
honestly. And what's fascinating is whether you knew it or not, you're the final episode of season 9. So I'm going into the 10th season of this podcast,
that's
which
amazing.
is unbelievable to me in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
And I think at the same time, like, we work our craft. I mean, you know this better
yeah.
than anyone in terms of what you do, and we'll talk about that and we'll unpack that. And I've got all sorts of fun little games and zingers and some improv stuff we can do.
I love.
But I I love learning this craft,
Yeah,
and that's what I've been doing for 10 years.
that's amazing. That's so awesome. And I listened to the Lisa Manning
Yeah,
Cassidy episode
our
this
fellow alum.
our fellow alum. I like love her and I was like, "Oh, this is so exciting." And I did not know I was the last of season
Yeah,
9.
yeah,
And you sound confident you're getting to season 10. Let's see if we can destroy that.
100%. Let's see if we can just blow that up.
There's a lot of pressure on me to not
There should be
ruin a
no
10
pressure.
season
No,
run.
I saved the best for last, Shannon.
I s uh, well, I hope there's 10. Here's to hoping there's a 10.
Here's to 10. Um, no, honestly, like, I'm feeling really good.
It's
Um,
great.
it's and you we'll talk about this, right? You started your own thing,
Mhm.
and in a way, this thing, right? We are in boxes here, but this thing was my passion project, and it's opened so many doors and reconnected me with people like you, right, who
Yeah.
have been in my life, and I've had the opportunity to work alongside and mentor and shape. And I just had 2 former guests reach out to me this morning and say, "I feel like I wanna be on again. Is that a thing? Can we do that?" And I was like, "Not only is it a thing, people love it." Like, people
Yeah,
love when guests come back
that's
because they get
awesome.
to hear the part 2 of their story.
Mhm. The
And
growth.
so 2 total, you know, just filled my heart this morning when 2 people reached out and said, "Hey, I'm feeling called to do it again. Can we do that?" And I was like, "Here's the great news. I'm the boss and the producer
Isn't
and the
that fun?
director, and yes, we can."
Yeah. Is that fun? I
So
get to make the decisions. Like, sometimes I have clients ask me things where they'll be like, "Can we do X?" And I'm like, "Here's what's fun. I get to make that call."
I'm in charge.
I can you believe?
I know. Well, I can because you were a women's basketball player and the captain of the Cornell women's basketball team. So I believe you can
I
and you
believe.
do make that jump shot.
Yeah, it is but I mean, here we are. Look how far we've made it. Look at us. Look at
Oh,
us.
I know. So
Podcasting.
let's talk a little bit about that. Tell people where you're joining from this morning. And then I would love for you to do a little bit of like, how do you know me? How do I know you?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay, so I'm joining from Houston, Texas, by way of, like, 50 places I've lived. But so I've lived in LA, New York, Chicago, DC, Florida, Wisconsin. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, which is I'm sorry for everybody who hears that accent come through. Um, but yeah, so now I live in Houston, Texas. We've lived here for the last 2 years. We moved from New York, so I had both of my kids, during COVID in
Mhm.
Manhattan, and that was an experience.
Oh, yeah.
And so when the youngest got to be about 1, we were like, a two-bedroom apartment in Hoboken isn't doing it anymore,
No.
which we were honestly lucky to have. And
Yeah.
so we kind of looked at the map. We said, "Where do we wanna live?" And a lot of my clients are in the Southeast United States, and we had lived in Houston before. I had helped start a theater in
Mm,
Houston before,
okay.
and so I was like, "Let's" and then my sister-in-law moved to Houston, and I was just like, "Let's follow them. That sounds good." And we ended up down here, and it's been great. Um, it's been great. It's Houston. It's a very growing, populous place. There's great
Yeah.
food. there's a highbrow culture and a lowbrow culture. I love both.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway,
Did
so
you know I lived there
huh?
for 7 years? Did you know I lived there for 7
What?
years? Yeah.
Where did you wait, when you were younger, right? I think we talked about
Yeah.
this.
From basically kindergarten to halfway through 7th grade, I lived in Northwest Houston, so in the Cypress
Cypress
Fairbanks
area.
area.
I
Yeah.
remember
I
because you and my chief of staff went to, like, the same high school or rival high schools or something?
That's right. Yep. Mhm. Yep.
What a
So,
small, big world.
I
Yeah.
got love for H-Town.
It's a
I mean, we didn't
fun
call it H-Town back then,
we st
like, let's be clear,
yeah.
but,
I say
um
H-Town or
yeah, okay.
H-Town or whatever.
H-Town. There used to be a sign, on FM 1960, which you know, and
Mhm,
people may not know, Farm to Market 1960,
mhm.
um, and it said, "You have to be in Texas for at least 7 years to call yourself a Texan."
Oh.
And I remember being really, really happy and excited that I crossed the 7-year threshold
Mm.
right before we moved across the world to Warsaw, Poland,
Oh,
because as I left, I was like, "I am a Texan."
I
Um,
mean, did you bring
yeah.
your boots? Did you get yourself a honorary cowboy boot?
The funny thing is my dad was born in Chicago, my mom was born in Brooklyn, so, like, 0 0 sort of Texas, and I remember my mom came home from the Astrodome one day.
Mhm.
My parents were actually at a this is a throwback, were at a campaign event for George Bush 1, right, when he was running. Um, and my mom came home from the Astrodome for this campaign event, and I asked her, "How was it?" And I was little. I mean, I was young. I was little. And she said, "It was very interesting. There was this really good singer who looked just like your father." And I said, "Really? Who is that?" And I came to find out it was George Strait, and he was singing "All My Exes Live in Texas" on the stage at the Astrodome for this George Bush campaign event. And my mom's not wrong. George Strait and my dad look a lot alike, and they're both really skinny. And ever since then, my mom was like, had a crush on George Strait, which I just love that story.
That's amazing. I love that she's like, "Why am I feeling things
Right.
about this
I mean, we
man?"
all feel that about George Strait, to be
To be
honest. You
fair.
know, she was just an
Wow,
early.
that says loads about your dad and why you have such wonderful looks now, you know? Your genetic
So yeah,
lottery.
there's a little Houston story for you.
Yeah, I love it. And so how did we meet? What's funny is I was thinking about this morning and I was like, I don't remember exactly how we met, but we were both IBMers in the global business services
Yep,
in the change group in the federal sector, right?
that's
So
right.
we both were kind of came that was my first job out of college.
Yep.
What I do know is you were a rock star, and what I also
Thank
know
you.
is I was not. Uh,
Oh, you stepped right off the court into,
I
like,
did.
stardom.
It was
I mean,
it was an intense shift. I went from it was a time I didn't really know what I was doing. It was like '09. It was
no
really hard to
consultants
get a
do.
job. And I was really lucky to get that position. And it was really interesting because I remember you were just a rock star. Like you had such a wonderful reputation, and I was like, this person is very cool. And yet it was so interesting because I feel like you were you. You were so
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
And I'll be honest, when I was at IBM, I felt like I couldn't be me. I felt like I
yeah,
was I was in the wrong culture, like I was not a culture fit.
yeah,
The blue suits and the federal and, the, like, government everything, and I am kind of a little bit of a free spirit,
yeah.
and that what's funny, and I wanted to tell you this. So what IBM did a lot of great things for me. It got me
Mm,
started in this world, it gave me a ton of credibility, but one of the best things it did for me is said goodbye, which was when I left, I actually left to do a sabbatical,
yeah,
to study improv.
yep,
I submitted a request to study improv, and I was like, I want to take a few months of my life and fully dedicate myself to this craft. And I even made the pitch where I was like, I think improv can be applied to business. Like, I really do think there's a space here where a lot of the work we're doing in change, in particular,
mhm,
there's some space here where improv can teach us a lot about how to lead and navigate uncertainty and change and all that. Because I'd started improv in DC.
Hmm.
And this is the story I wanted to tell you. So when I was leaving, presumably I was coming back because it was just a sabbatical.
Right.
And the head of the change consulting division said to me, we had a meeting. She was managing me at the time, and she was like, "It's going to be fascinating to see what you do. It won't be this, but it'll be really interesting to see.
It won't be this.
Not gonna be this, baby." And I thought that was so funny, but also at the same time, I was like, you know what? She was giving me a really big gift where it was like, "You're probably not
Yeah.
gonna come back here." And I wasn't, and I needed to find my own way, but that sabbatical and the sort of support, um
Yeah.
I'm not from an entrepreneurial family. I'm from my
Mhm.
brother's a accountant, my sister's a doctor. We're like second generation people who went to college. You know, we're not people who like my mom was like, "What are you doing starting a business?" Like,
Oh, yeah.
"You had security. What are you
You
doing?"
left the mothership.
You had it all. You had IBM. Like, "What are you doing?" And but IBM gave me that with that sabbatical, gave me the security of, like, you could come back, and it allowed
Yeah.
me to I studied in New Orleans, I studied in Chicago, I studied in LA, New York, and I got to really and I started from there. That's the nation that's the birthing of improvision is that knowledge and
Yeah.
that experience. So, it taught me what I wasn't, and it gave me
Yeah.
the opportunity to explore what I am, which is really cool.
Which people work their entire lives for that and don't find it.
Yes.
So what a gift it was for that person, that manager to say that, gently, but also a little bit, s- sleight of hand. But hey, it worked out great for you.
"Hey, girl, you're not coming back." Got it. Okay.
And part of that manager probably said it from a place of awe and admiration and inspiration, right? Because a lot of us, I mean, case in point, right? There were times we wanted to sort of break free from the nest and go
Yeah.
try something, but we had those same conversations in our head of like, but why would anybody leave the mothership,
Yeah.
right? Like, to your point, our parents' generation was IBM was the penultimate. Like, why, why would you get off that hill? Like, you're
Yeah.
on the hill, you have the advantage.
Yeah.
And so I can totally understand that sense of from your mom and others, like, what are you doing? But at the same time, do you think that person who gave you that advice was in a little bit of like, I wish I could go with you, but I can't. So you go do it for all of us? Was there a little bit of that in there?
God. I this person was very successful where they were
Mm.
and
Hmm.
was very like, her makeup was different than me.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I think more it was I'm good with where I am where I'm supposed to be. This isn't
Yeah.
where you're supposed to be. And that like
Yeah.
comfortable knowing that it's like it'll be like I think she said what she meant. Like it will be
Yeah.
interesting to see what you do. And I was like, me too, babe. I don't know. Like because
No idea.
early improvision, like when I was doing that, I did not have a vision of and I think this is
Right.
something that for anyone interested in founding a company, starting a company, I think so often when you
Yeah.
talk about it at the end, you go, "Oh, this was the vision from the beginning." I did not have that.
Yeah.
I literally was like, "Improv, business, together." And that was the beginning. And we've come a long way. Like, Improvision now has we're an executive coaching consultancy focused on transformation and change. And we still have improv. I always say, like, we have the heart of an improviser, partly because
Hmm.
everyone who works with us, literally all of our consultants, coaches, facilitators, everybody has an improv background, which sounds insane that I found them all because they are few and far between. And
Yeah.
Bill, do you have an improv background?
You know what's really interesting about this question, Shannon, is I don't know if I have a background, but when I stop and think about the core tenets of what makes improv really successful and really work, I think I've always had it because I came from like one, a really large family. Two, I come from very witty, very tactful, like comedic tribe.
Mhm.
And I witnessed so much of that around me. And what was fascinating was that skill set meant survival.
That's
And
wow.
so I mimicked it in a way. because what it would do is it would sort of allow you to stand out just enough that people are like, "Ooh, that one's sharp," right? Or you could deliver something in a way that was a little bit bitey, like maybe a little bit more adult for your young age, and people are like,
Mm.
"He's an old soul," right? So you could do
Yeah.
this in a way and sort of navigate your way through family dynamics and politics and drama. And so it became almost a survival mechanism for me. And then fast forward to
Mm.
college, I'm at Johns Hopkins. I'm a freshman. I'm at some student gathering event thing, and I had never heard of improv.
Fun.
And one of their improv tribes, groups, performance groups came out and did their thing, and I was hooked. I was like,
Mhm.
whatever that is, I want more of that. And I
Mhm.
think the last part I'll share with you is it reminded me so much of language. And as you know, I've studied a number of languages, and I thought to myself, watching it was a little bit like whose line is it anyway,
Mhm.
right? They were kind of doing that on stage.
Mm.
And I thought to myself,
Mm.
oh, that's what I do when I'm just trying to search for the right words to say things when I, one, have a limited vocabulary, two, have probably a slightly constricted grammar, and three, I'm in a country where I can't necessarily control the environment or the culture, and you still have to find your way, right? You
Yeah.
improvise, you use your body language, you use your, and so I've been doing that from such a young age. So I feel like it would be a natural bridge for me, but also I'm in such admiration of it because it's how people, as you know, this is your work. It's how people transform. Like communication transforms when we can find that craft and that gift. So
Yeah.
it is a good question, but I've never been asked it before.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny because when I get on stage, if I'm talking to a large group, I always the first question I ask is, "How many of you have done improv before?" And there's, like,
Mm.
maybe one person who's like, "Ooh, this is me, me."
Yeah.
They're, like, just
Pick
Second
me,
City
pick me.
class. They're like, um,
Second City. Yes.
and I'm like I always say, "Actually, everyone here has done improv before."
Yep.
Because, when you wake up in the morning, you don't know exactly how your day is gonna go, right? You do improv
Yeah.
every day. And
Hmm.
I love the way you put it of like the survival mechanism of having to learn how to connect and
Hmm.
the disarm of humor is such an incredibly powerful tool. And actually, it's so funny because one of Improvision's like core tenets is we use fun as a strategy.
Yeah.
And it is because when we're in a space of having fun, when we laugh, when we
Hmm.
can deliver things with humor, it allows people to stay longer in an uncomfortable place, and that's where
Yeah.
growth happens, right? So we can have more
Hmm.
difficult questions, we can have more difficult conversations, we can learn something we haven't learned before because 'cause we're engaged and we're
Yeah.
made comfortable by the humor, by the imperfection of it all. And so,
Right.
like, I love that's such an interesting in the survival mechanism. I was also gonna say the things you listed, right? You
Mm.
came from witty family, you used it as a connection and survival mechanism. The only thing missing is a little bit of trauma.
Oh, and I got plenty that's all there too.
That's all they that's all they do, right? A little bit of trauma. You got the comedian soup right there.
I mean, let's just say Irish, Roman Catholic, oldest boy, namesake, military officer, gay. I mean, tell me when to stop. I'm at number 10.
But what else? But
So I got material for days.
Yeah, but what's the trauma though? Just kidding.
Seriously.
Also Irish Catholic, also the other side, Italian Catholic, so
Oh,
Shannan Scarselletta, the name
yeah.
says it all, right?
Double whammy.
Mine was, 6 feet tall when I was 12.
Yep.
Just for everyone to let that sink in. 6 feet tall when I was 12. I have red hair. I cannot fit in, like, spitfire personality, really young. And humor, again, it's very similar to you. Like, humor made me feel like I could connect with people and
Yeah.
explore being very imperfect in a female body, which is also a
Mhm.
whole other thing of like, I could not present the way I'm supposed to present just because of being 6 feet tall, super athletic, like, could lift you bench press when I was in 6th grade, right? Like,
Mhm.
was not cute. And humor was a way for me to connect very early on. And
Yeah.
something I'm so glad I've been gifted with too, because it's also such a resiliency.
Oh, yeah.
tool for life,
Such a good word.
you
Yeah.
know? And that's a huge part of like what so kind of bringing it together.
Yeah.
So, when I was studying improv and I was like, how do we apply this? Because I also was performing.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
was performing. I performed with Second City, Improv Olympic, UCB, all around. I performed in Canada. I performed all over, all over. Started a theater, helped start a theater in Houston. Still teach and still perform to this day. Still love improv. Still
Wonderful.
perform.
It's your craft.
It's also my practice. I talk about it like
Yeah.
it's like how I come back to these skills. What struck me was what I learned was there was two big things. The first is that improv, and just for folks who haven't quite seen it, what it looks like often is you get on stage, you you know what good looks like. You know you're supposed to have a show that's funny and it's supposed to make sense, and you make up what looks like a play entirely on the
Mhm.
spot,
Mhm.
using just the ideas of the audience, of your teammates. You really don't know what you're doing walking into it, but you know what good looks like, and you know you have only the bodies and the minds of the people around you, which
Yep.
is a perfect example of what work is. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, it's like we know we have a goal, we have some information, but we don't have it all. We have to co-create. And so what improv first the first realization I had is that improv is a perfect example of efficient co-creation as a group.
Mhm. Yeah.
As how do we co-create something without any editing? You don't get
That's
redos.
right.
You don't get to
No.
go like, "Hold on, we're gonna redo that scene. I didn't like when you made that choice, so we're gonna make a different choice. I want you to make a different choice, right? And then I'll do what I thought was fun."
No.
You have to you develop these skills, and there are these tools and lessons therein of how do we co-create really efficiently and quickly, which is so important for company agility, team
Oh,
performance,
yeah.
all of these insights in there. Yes, sanding, I got your back, all these things in there that allow you to really co-create. And then the second skill, and it took me a lot longer to figure out that this was something that I really took away. So that's the group value. As an individual, what I took away was you learn, and this is why I call it a practice. You learn by doing how
Mhm.
to navigate ambiguity.
Yes. Such an important thing.
And it's I don't, I like you said, I was a basketball player, and that's what basketball was too.
Yeah.
You know what good looks like, but all these things are happening, and you don't have all the information when you're making these decisions.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to rely on a mix of your instincts and your ability to react. And how do you develop yourself in such a way that instead of trying to be in a position of control constantly, you can be a facilitator of, and I'm going to sound corny, but of change, of
Mhm.
growth, of development, of forward movement, of progress, and that
Of the unexpected.
of the unexpected.
Yeah.
And more and more as I get older, I'm so grateful for that skill set in my personal life, but also,
Mhm.
the way the world is moving with technology and with AI, we're over our skis, baby. Like we are
Completely.
the days of the leader having the right answer is gone. Like as a leader, your value no longer is having done this before,
Right.
right? Nope, none of us have done this before, and that's the thing
Mhm.
I, like, shout from the rooftops whenever I'm facilitating a workshop is I'm like, "None of us have done this before, we gotta approach this differently than the people before us because we have to be okay with uncertainty, and so what can we do? How do we lead and facilitate that progress when we don't have all the answers?"
Yeah.
And that muscle, like, that's why I call it a practice, is I'm like, I go on stage and I walk off and it's like, "Okay, I can exist. I can exist in ambiguity now,"
Yeah.
in a way that I'm sure other people learn in different facets, but you don't learn at work. Sorry, you don't learn that skill at work,
You do not.
you know?
You do not.
So that's our little opus.
I love it. I love that you call it an opus because, right, the these things are put together like that, and I think it's really important to sort of name you put the word ambiguity on the table, and I'm so glad you did because that's what's causing a lot of overwhelm for people.
Amen.
Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and and I think the other part which is really important for people to understand what you're describing is the work that you're talking about is as much somatic. You said the word instinct and
Yeah.
intuition, right? These are feeling into your body.
Yeah.
You know, never having been a basketball player, however, I can imagine there were probably times when you said, I didn't even think about that shot. My body just did
My
it,
b
right?
oh, such a nice feeling.
Yeah, right? Like, and and to your point, when a game is underway, it's not like you stop the game and be like, "Oh, that was totally instinctual." Um, do we want to assess that or do we want to make a different choice? Now, what's also fascinating is, and I don't know if basketball has this as much, but we're seeing it in NFL, we're seeing it in NHL, we're seeing it in even in Major League Baseball, right? The sort of saturation of data and telemetry
Mm.
is really kind of fascinating when you think about so much of this is, like you said, practice and craft and instinct and intuition. Um, but then they go back and they look at all the data points afterwards. And
Mhm.
before, it used to be you just watching your tapes.
Mhm.
Now it's like, here's your tapes and your dashboard of data that literally clocks the human movement. So
Mhm.
you can, I don't know, not necessarily perfect, but understand why it is you do what you do from a data informed way. You know, they're thinking, I think Major League Baseball is thinking about getting rid of umpires because AI is going to do it for them.
Wow.
And And I don't feel good about that.
Mm.
And I'm curious from your standpoint, like so much of what you do, improv, vision, consulting, like is it fair to say you're really helping people, giving people permission be in your body?
Mhm.
Is that
Mhm.
fair?
Oh,
Okay.
amen. Another one of our tenants that we have is coactive, interactive practice. Everything is body. Everything is like,
Okay.
we're gonna put it in your body. So, like, you don't learn to improvise by reading a book about improv. You also don't learn to give feedback by reading a book about feedback, although there are great books
No.
on feedback, and everyone should read Radical Candor.
Yeah, I
Um,
do love that one.
a
Yes. And crucial conversations. Yes.
adore, right?
Yeah.
But then the way we actually do this is we get it into our body because the reality of all the noise that's happening around us here's you don't you can't transfer that, you can't read it and then know how to do it. You have to just do it.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up this like data information because this is something I
Hmm.
grapple with all the time is
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because sometimes the question deep in my soul is, are we trying to data away the human aspects of leading and dealing with people?
The answer is yes.
Yeah. Right? Like, and the more we try to data it away, right? Hey, what if we could predict everything everybody's gonna do all the time? And I'm like, you can't. And even if they have all the data, they're still gonna make decisions that they feel comfortable with because they're
Yeah.
humans and we have these internal biases and all these things. The more we rely like, it's like a lot of my clients are like, "But the data, the technology
Hmm.
is gonna solve the people." And I'm like, "No, you still need to solve the people." And I actually think that the data is pushing us more to a place where the human interaction and humanness and human connection is gonna become more important. Because even I think about,
Totally.
like, you know, I think about, like, Instagram, I scroll and I get an ad, and, like, I
Hmm.
what I used to do is I used to look at the comments and be like, "Oh, do the people, the humans who use this product, do they like this product?" And I would look at the comments. Now, those comments are paid for, right? The data knows that I'm looking at the comments, so now the
Yep.
comments say exactly what I want them to say. So
Yep.
now, I don't even look at the comments, I'm calling friends. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
going back to, like, "What do you like for underwear?"
Landline.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And so it's pushing us more and more towards, like, human trust matters
Yeah.
because everything is so datafied. And so I'm not against data. I think data is really valuable and insightful, but it does not replace.
Yeah.
and in fact makes more important the ability to adapt to change and be flexible and connect with people and understand the motivations of people and all those things.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was reading yesterday about the tendency that, of how things are now, that we're in this stage. I don't want to call it an era. We're in this stage of it's a solution trying to find a problem.
Yes. Yes. Very true. Especially with AI. Especially with AI. That's so true. It's like, did you ever think you needed to an app that could predict your dog's pee schedule? Like, yeah, I guess I wait.
I
Do I
do,
do I?
y- do I need that? Yeah, I think I do.
I think
Would my life be better? I think my life would be better. I
because then I could predict. Because then I could predict all the ambiguity away. All the ambiguity goes away, and then I know my dog's pee schedule, or whatever. Whatever. By the way, I
right.
made that up. Whoever wants to go it, run with it, take it, build your,
Yeah, you can have it. We're not trademarking it.
of intellectual property. You can go make
No.
dog PPAI. Go for it. But I'll give you an example. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is I love this story. I want to share it. So I love you talking about your family and how your family made you an improviser. So the best improviser in my life is my mom.
Uh-huh.
My mom is the coolest, lamest, coolest person. She has had a really challenging life. So my dad, my biological father, died in a plane crash when I was 3 months old.
Mm.
My mom had
Mm.
2 kids, and besides me, so I was the third kid. And
Mm.
she was just like, "Gotta make this work," right? Like, obviously, it
Oh.
was very traumatic and challenging, but she's like, "You've never met somebody who came out of a situation like that," and what she took from it was like, "The world is unpredictable, so enjoy. So
Oh, that's
find
such
joy, find
a
connection, find
oh,
human,
so great.
and you can't control it, so live every day," right? And so
Mhm.
I grew up with that. That's my little trauma base, my little trauma,
Yeah.
you know, and I do think improv in some degree for me is has given because that's my challenge in life is that like I do wish I could control because I was
Yeah.
born with this experience of even the thing you're supposed to treat as certain can be
Mhm.
very uncertain. And in fact, like the thing that cracks me up, it's dark, but you gotta laugh about it, is like the thing that people compare to when they say something's unlikely to happen is a plane crash.
It's a plane crash. Oh, believe me.
So I'm
As
like,
a nervous flyer, I get that.
sorry, y'all. Like,
Sorry.
I
Got
miss
that one.
the unlikely. So when people are like, but that's statistically unlikely, I'm like, really? Tell me about how that's gonna happen to me,
Yeah, you're like, "That was the beginning of
of
my
my life.
life." Yeah.
But my mom came out of that with like, yeah, everything's uncertain. So like enjoy. So connect.
Yeah.
So when I was about to give birth to my first kid, I am the reaction to the childhood I had is I do try to be in control of everything. And improv is my practice to get away from that.
Yeah.
So when I was about to have my first kid, um, I had a medical issue where the doctors I was working with was saying to me, well, you could get induced early or you could not get induced early. And either way, it might end up bad. We don't know. What do you want to do? And I was like, Uh, aren't you supposed to know? Like, you have all the
Yeah.
information. I don't know. I didn't go to medical school. I don't know. And I was talking to my mom. My mom and I went to lunch at a Greek restaurant in New York, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm afraid, like, when I get in there and
Mhm.
I have to give birth, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm afraid, like, what if, what if, what if? And I was hitting all these what ifs, like, what if I'm unconscious? What if I
Right.
can't make a decision? What if I make the wrong decision? What if they ask me something and I don't have a preference. I just want everything to be okay.
Mhm.
And my mom said to me, and I'll never forget this. My mom said to me, "What's that thing you teach?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "What's that thing you teach? You teach is it yes and?"
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I'm like, I'm getting choked up thinking about it because I was like,
Yeah.
first of all, I was like, "You heard that? Like, you know what I teach. And I was like, this is amazing. But all this data, all the certainty, all the medicine, right?
Mhm.
The only thing I could do in that situation was accept what was happening and make the next choice.
Yeah.
That's the
Next
only
best
thing you can
action.
control. Yep, this is what's happening. Here's what I'm gonna contribute to it. Here's what I can control. Here's what I can do.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I was like, "Oh, that's what that means."
Mm. Yeah.
This thing I've been studying for a decade of my life. Oh, that's what that means. Like, and it coming from her, like, "Yeah, and
Yeah.
baby, like, you're gonna be put in a new situation, and you can't change it.
Mhm.
The only way you can change it is you take it in, and then you affect it."
That's right.
And I was like, "Man, she's smart. She's a smart lady." And so
Mhm.
that was such a lesson to me about, we have data, we have all this certainty, we're aiming for all this certainty. But when we're teaching that tool of yes and I'll tell you, even in the early days of teaching it, I was like, this is kind of hokey. I
Mm.
honestly, I kind of was like, this is a little bit hokey when we talk about this because it's like everywhere. You read
You
and
see it everywhere. Yeah.
you see it everywhere. That was the moment where I was like, "Oh, this is extremely profound," because whenever my clients, whenever me, whenever we're stuck in that moment of like, I am not in control here.
Mhm.
The only thing we can do is go, "Okay.
Accept it.
Okay, yeah, and what am I gonna contribute to it? What can I
Mhm.
influence to create the outcome I want?" And that's been
Mhm.
like that really shifted the way I coach and the way I lead my team. And just yesterday, my m one of the people on my team was laughing at me because I was like, we were dealing with a contract that went awry. We were
Mhm.
dealing with, I had to get a governance deliverable in. I'm coaching someone. I get a call from my kid's kindergarten teacher being like, "Lewis is late on this." Um, I'm gonna say deliverable. He's in kindergarten. Um,
Once a consultant, always a consultant, by the way.
this kindergarten deliverable of a family photo album. He was supposed to have this done. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, yep, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, oh." And she's like, "It's crazy to watch it." And then I had to design an offsite, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"I'll get to that, I'll get to that." And she's like, "It's crazy to watch you just jump from thing to thing." And I was like, "Well, it's the yes, Sandy thing. It's like,
It's improv.
it's improv, baby. That's all it is
Yeah.
all day." I'm gonna stop saying baby. I've said that more times on this call than I've said in my life.
I love the story about your mom for a couple of reasons. One is, and I'm curious from your before I ask this question, the sides of your family, Irish, Italian. I'm assuming your dad's side's Italian, your mom's side's Irish?
A Scarselletta, that comes from the dad.
Okay. So, my mom is 100% Irish on her side, so
Mhm,
it sounds like we both have these very brilliant, witty, sharp,
mhm.
incredibly amazing women in our
Isn't
lives.
that
Um,
what
and
an advantage.
I love that. Like, what an advantage we had, like, literally game, team, home court advantage, right?
Mhm,
Um, and I love that your mom, in a way, right? This is what really brilliant parents do, is they sort of serve up the thing that you've been literally teaching and getting paid to do for other people in a very delicate way to tell you essentially, "Hey, you get to take your own medicine now."
mhm,
But had she done it in a way of, like, forceful or parental or whatever, right,
mhm,
it wouldn't have landed, right? We
mhm.
would have we would have done what we do as kids, which is like, "Mom, you don't understand," right? And up goes our rigidity.
Yeah.
And I love that as an example because I think back to my mom when, you talked about being in COVID, right? And being in New York in COVID and having the 2 kids and being in a two-bedroom apartment. I remember it was early days of COVID. This is before the shutdowns, and I remember going back to DC to check on my parents because everything was just getting a little weird. I remember the first day that I knew things were amiss was I was actually in consulting at the time. I was on a client site. It was a major Salesforce implementation, and Salesforce, like, it was a several $1,000,000 deal, and Salesforce just didn't show up. And we were like, okay, major technical vendor, it's your
Mhm.
software. This is the client. Where, like,
Need you.
where are you?
Mhm.
Need you, right? And they were like, we've shut down and we've told everybody to stay home.
Whoa.
And I was like, really? I mean, I was watching it. Obviously, went to Johns Hopkins. Like, I have an understanding of public health. I was watching it, but I was like, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
And it was that day that I decided to fly to DC from
Mhm.
Denver.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to go check on my parents and I'm going to check on some family. And so I took a couple calls while I was in my parents' apartment. Right? I was
Mhm.
staying with them. They live in Washington, D.C. at the time. And I'm taking calls like we do on laptops all the time on Zoom and whatever. I mean, granted, Teams and Zoom wasn't the level we know it now, but at the time there were some people using it. And I took my meetings. And at one point, my mom, like, I'm in the living room, she's in the TV room. And at one point, she sort of scoots her chair forward and leans, sort of turns her head around the corner and says, "Is that what you do all day?" Now, keep in mind, she's only heard my half of the conversation because I have headphones in, right?
Mhm.
And I looked at her and I said, "What is it you think I do?" And she's like, "You just get to tell people all day that they're gonna be okay?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh my God. Yeah, mom, I do." And she said to me in a way, "Well, that makes sense." And I was like, "What did you think I did?" And she said, "I thought you were like that George Clooney guy with Up in the Air." I was like, "Oh my God. You thought I went around the world and fired people?" She's like, "I don't know. I just thought you were like that George Clooney guy and Up in the Air. You're always on planes, going places and
Yeah.
doing things." And I'm like the exact opposite of that George Clooney Up in
Yeah.
the Air guy.
Yeah.
And just the delicacy with which she said that, right?
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, is that what you do?" And she summed it up perfectly,
Yeah.
right? Like, you could put all the frameworks in, you could put all the certifications. Who cares, right? At the end of the day, my job is to help people see their potential
Yeah.
and to remind them, like, they're gonna be okay. And I love that your example is exactly that, right? You needed to remind yourself, "Hey, Shannon, you're gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna respond to what happens, and you're
Mhm.
gonna be okay.
Mhm.
And even if it's not okay, it's okay."
Yeah. I talked to moms. We could talk about moms all day. That's a whole
Love
different thing.
moms,
I love that,
especially Irish moms.
especially Irish moms, man. Oh, the Irish moms with the sense of humor. We are lucky, lucky, lucky. What I noticed about the way that you talked about the way your mom talked to you and the way that my mom talked to you, and I've told my mom this actually directly, is
Mm,
one of the things that she does that's so powerful is she doesn't assume she knows better than me,
yeah.
and it's almost like she entered that conversation with you and entered the conversation with me with curiosity rather than
Mhm.
like, "You just gotta listen to what take your own medicine, baby.
Right.
Baby,
Right. Baby. Love that.
what's happening today? Who am I right now?" But, like, this is but it's entering with, uh, hey, uncertainty almost and entering with that
Yeah.
curiosity, and I think that it's kind of where the humor does the same thing, where it's like,
Yeah.
we don't have to have certainty, and we were possibly raised by women who were like, "Certainty? What's that?
That's a luxury.
That's a luxury that's nice to have," right?
Yeah.
And in entering and this is a huge part of coaching and what I try to teach the leaders that I work with too, is when you don't have control and you don't have the answer, you can be even more profoundly effective in the way you
Yeah.
lead and guide people if only you let go of the idea that your job is to have the answer
Yep.
and instead enter into what your mom did and what my mom did so well, which was, what if we learned this together? Like, what if I just asked? What if I was curious about it and reflected back what I'm seeing, but not in a way where I'm directive.
Yeah.
It actually comes from I have so much knowledge and so much it's not undermining the fact of how much knowledge your mom had or my mom had. It's not like,
Right.
"Oh, you're a dummy," right? that ability to come in with curiosity is informed by all their experience.
That's right.
And it allows us, instead of putting our fists up and getting defensive and being like, well, you don't get it, it allows us to be like, oh, I just learned something.
Mhm. And to meet curiosity with curiosity,
Yeah.
right? Like, that aspect of, in my case, you know, me then in return asking her, "I'm curious, what is it you think I did or do?" Right? Um, I had two house guests over last night for dinner, and they have, young children, and one of them is also, an executive coach, and she plays this wonderful game. I think she calls it, six-word memoir. You've
Oh,
probably done
cool.
this where,
No, I don't
like,
know this.
where basically, she does some of her leadership stuff, and it kinda stems from that. I forget, there's an old story where somebody basically just printed in a newspaper, like, 1 line or 6 words, and it was profound, right? I think the one that we all hear about is, you know, "Baby shoes never worn,
I
for sale," right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And like, when you hear that, like, you can't help but be like,
It's the
"Oh,"
whole
right?
story.
Like, there's a whole story there, and so she does this sort of six-word memoir. What is your six-word memoir? And you can imagine, working with leaders and being like, "Okay, what is your six-word memoir?"
Yeah.
And they have to think about, but to your point, the rigidity comes up and the certainty, and I have to perform and all of that. And no, like, just let it go and see what comes, and then the other part of it, which is a brilliant game, which you've probably done as well, is how would your child describe what you do?
See, I was just thinking, how would your mom describe what you do? Which is a whole different
Right.
but how
But
would
your
your
child.
child describe what you do? I do know that because they make them fill it out in kindergarten.
Oh, what if they said?
Um, 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 my mom this is real. My mom plays with grown-ups,
Okay.
which is how I've described what I do
Sure, yeah.
to them, so they're listening. So I when I tell my son what I do, I go, "I help people play."
Yeah,
That's what I tell
yeah.
I help people play because that mindset of play is the in my mind, the like, if
Mm.
I had a book, which I need to write, it would be,
Yes,
like,
you
The
do.
Power of the Mindset of Play. That's a terrible
Yeah.
title. It'd be Baby, the Power instead of
Baby, let's
Mindset of
play.
Play,
That's what
Baby. But anyway, it would be the mindset of play because I always that ability to be like you said, "You're gonna be okay." The power of the mindset of play is like, "This doesn't matter as much as I think it matters." So,
Yeah,
in this exact moment, right, unless you're a surgeon and you have a scalpel in somebody's body, right?
yeah.
Don't play. Don't play
Don't
if you're
play.
that.
Yeah,
Um, but in a lot of your experience in the military, don't play, right? But
yeah,
most of the time with the people we're
yeah.
working with, if you can shift into this thing where it's like, what if we just played with this? Like, what if we
Mhm.
pretended? What if we imagined? There's so much in that. And we use that. We tap into play when we work with
Yeah.
people. So Lewis thinks, my son thinks that mommy plays with adults and that daddy does meetings. Those are our jobs. And my mom
My
thinks and tells people that I
yeah.
tell executives what to do all day.
Okay.
And I'm like, I sound really badass, mom.
Yeah, you sound like George Clooney in Up in the Air.
He's like, she tells executives what to do. CEOs, they all listen to her. And
Yeah,
I'm
they
like,
all listen to her. Yeah.
great. I love this.
Well, and what I find so fascinating is, like, when my friends were over for dinner last night and they shared that, the one woman said, "Oh, my son went to went to school and told people, 'Mommy yells at people on the screen.'"
Ooh,
Right?
cold
And,
read.
like, total cold read and, like, not inaccurate,
Not
but
inaccurate.
but there's so much more to it. And so it was we were all in tears laughing last
That's
night
so
about
funny.
the the generous aspect of that, right? 6-word memoir, and what would your kids say you do?
Wait,
And
what's
what would your
yours?
mother say you do, right?
What's your did you think about what your six-word memoir would be?
I haven't yet. Maybe we need to do that now.
Okay.
You wanna start? And we could riff?
Yeah, I
Let's
can riff.
improv.
Yeah, it's improv.
Let's
It
throw
doesn't
some of your
matter.
game.
It doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
You're gonna be
Pass
okay.
me the dribble.
You're gonna be okay. This isn't it. We can yes and our way through this.
Yes, and.
Okay, what do you wanna start, or do you want me to yes and yours and try to help you with yours, or do you want me to
Yeah,
take a
let's do a yes and with it.
okay.
So we're gonna say 6-word memoir, and I'm gonna try and do this without thinking too much about it. So, um, he brought voice to the unvoiced.
Oh, stop. That's, the
That's 6, right?
I don't care.
Yeah,
He
I think
brought
that's 6.
voiced to the my god. I'm not gonna talk. Do you know the first thing I thought of was thinky less, doey more. And then
Well,
you're like,
that's what I need more of in my life. In truth, that's
"Poem.
what I
Here's my incredible haiku." And I'm like, "Thinky, thinky, too much. Doey, doey."
need more.
Oh, yours is great.
But it tells me I need more play.
But no, I know, but it's beautiful and it's authentic. He gave voice to the unvoiced.
He brought voice to the unvoiced, yeah.
That's beautiful. There you go. I mean, trademark that. That's gorgeous.
Thank you. That's the first thing that kind of again, when I get out of my head, right? Get out of the cerebral, go in for, like, the intuitive, instinctual pass, the jump shot. That's what came,
We're such
and
different
I'm a little
people.
emotional about it, but yeah.
It's when you went into your intuition, that's what came out. And when I went into mine, it was thinky less, doing more. I swear to God, I'm a professional executive woman. I
But you're
run a,
also
a good company.
but you're also an amazing mother, and you're, like, again, like and a teammate, and levity. Levity.
Levity matters.
Oh, it so
It
matters.
it does matter, and I do think, and I do think, I stick by thinky less, doing more.
Yeah, which I need more ironically, I need more of in my life, so it's wonderful that we're having this sort of exchange because it's the universe being like, "Okay, nice job, Bill Highbrow. Uh, get off that platform and
Play
do
is beautiful
more
and it's
Dewey."
authentic. It doesn't
It
have to
is.
our authenticities can be different authenticities.
Yes, that's true.
I
And I
love
need more
yours. I
play.
love it I mean it. I love it so much, and I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I'm just slightly embarrassed, but also totally fine with the reality. I know my chief of staff before I came on this call was like, "You are a CEO. Remember that you're a CEO of a successful consulting company that has
Oh.
achieved incredible goals this year, and, like, many people listen to you, and don't forget that." And I'm like, "Got it. Thinky, thinky." Ah,
I love I love that. I
yeah.
love that because here's the thing, as we're talking about, this is what the world's lacking, right?
Amen.
And we need more of this because this is how we relate and we remember our humanity and we laugh and we cry and to your point, then we can make the next best action.
Exactly. I really do believe that if people, and at the end of the day, the other big thing is, like, having some joy at work is just, like,
Yeah.
so I mean, we spend so much time there, but, like, I live it through improv and through my team. Because also the other thing that's really cool about hiring a company of all improvisers is that it's the best place to work because everybody's just
Yeah.
like, "I love what you just said. Here's my idea. I love what you just
And
said. Here's
right.
my idea." Like, that's the entire vibe. And then when we come up against another consulting firm and they're like, "I don't like that, and I don't like that, and I don't like that." I'm like, yee," or like, we're like, "Ooh, that's
Yeah.
really how sad for you." You know, "Ugh," that culture of of levity, it does not detract from intelligence
No.
in any way, shape, or form, or capability, or my ability to I promise I'm an executive coach who works with executives. Um, like, in really the ability to do deep work, I've one of the challenges of my career has been marrying, and it's still something I fight with. The work of being in a business environment where my instinct is to control and to show
Mm.
how smart I am. There's an improviser that I work with who that I got to take a class from, and the exercise she did was, "What are you afraid people think of you? You're going to
Uh,
be that character in every scene today."
wow.
And my thing that I know I am afraid people think of me is that I'm stupid. It's I'm not stupid. Like, there's no part of me that's stupid. I'm a very smart person. I have the credentials, right? Like, but
Mhm.
I'm like, I just don't want people, like, because of my personality, because of, I don't want people to dismiss me.
Mm.
However, so sometimes I find myself in this, like, world of being like, I need to, if I meet somebody who's like, whose energy is like, you're stupid, it makes me like shift into my energy of like control and
Mhm.
demonstration of how smart I am and all that kind of stuff. And what I have learned is that that's not where I'm valuable.
No,
And I can, when I meet someone like that, what my mantra now is this is them. Like, this
that's
is a
right.
them thing. And I can help them by
Mhm.
not trying to meet them on that battlefield. I'm valuable by serving them and allowing them to demonstrate their intelligence. And you know what? They respect that so much more. And not necessarily being haha, jokey, jokey, talky, talky,
Right,
dooey, lusty, whatever.
right.
But like by being curious and by being impressed by them and by allowing and by challenging them, but in that curious way, they'll respect that more. But it is a continuous challenge for me of trying to marry the part of me that wants to be respected
Yeah,
with the part of me that knows intuitively that that desire to prove myself is actually the thing that gets in the way of my value, right?
yep, yep.
And so the memoir's name, the six-word memoir remains talky,
Let's see.
lessy, thinky, lessy, dewy, Maury.
And it's gonna be a top New York Times bestseller. You heard it here, folks.
Oh my god. Well,
One last thing I'd love to leave you with, because this just excuse me, this just came to me as you were talking before, and I'm not sure why I hadn't really made this connection before, but I'm gonna say it. I think the Gen AI before Gen AI was improv.
oh my god. Do you
I mean, think
know
about it.
do you know there was this goes down a rabbit hole, I promise I won't. There was a a advertising firm that just hired improvisers off the street, and they put them up against their, like, advertising team,
Yeah,
and the improvisers blew them out of the water.
exactly.
And in Gen AI and all of that, of just allowing information without filter to come through and have people co-create it to the best version of itself, like, that's that happening in real time, and we cannot let Gen AI and the existence of it, as valuable as it is, stop us from cultivating that skill set for ourselves.
Yes. Beautifully said.
And I'm so grateful, like, I'm so grateful that we grew up in a time where we didn't have that pull or
Mhm.
that very seductive pull to rely
Yeah.
on something like that. We had to improvise ourselves, And yet we still, as adults, are so, wired for control
Yeah.
that there's still a pull in that direction. But like that's one of the things as a mom that's on my to-do list is how do we create children who are spontaneous and can
Yeah.
operate in that world and see it as a companion, not a replacement
Yeah.
uh,
It's essential.
technology.
It's essential, which is why the work that you're doing is pivotal,
Yeah.
right? I'm so glad that we reconnected when we connected. Because
Yeah.
again, like these conversations, like to your point, all this other stuff had to happen in the order that it happened in order for us to have this conversation
Yeah.
in this manner. Um, and I find it so fascinating and almost life giving that I'm realizing that there's improvisation. And on the other side of that coin that we all carry is imposterism.
Very true.
Yeah.
And it's the block.
Yeah.
It is the block to improv
It is.
because
It's
we
the thing that's
shift.
holding us back.
Amen. That is,
Yeah.
ah, you're good at words.
Talkie, let's see. Do
Talking
we
goody,
want
though. Talking goody. Thank you both. This has been so fun, and thank you
It
for
has
inviting me to
been.
do this. And,
Yeah.
I formally submit my request to come back on season 11 or, whatever, assuming we haven't blown up your your podcast deal with the
Absolutely.
higher
There's no
ups.
there's no deal. That's the great thing. It's like it's me, myself, and I. I'll go ask. I'll take the hat off, put on another hat, and be like, "What do you think?" Yeah. Yes, and yes, and
Yeah. Yes, and is that
so
fun?
that this has been great. I mean, it's a great way to. That's why I love doing these on early Friday mornings because it's my gift to myself to be like, you're going into the weekend, like go in with this energy, right? Connecting to people and echoing their stories. It's so good for my heart,
Yeah,
and and I love the fact that you've reminded me this whole platform is improv.
it
I don't write
is.
it. I didn't write anything down. I didn't come with any questions. I never do, unless the person says I need to see questions before I do this
Yeah.
with you. I'll
Oh, I could have done
probably
that? Oh, I did.
thank God you didn't. And again, no judgment to those that do, but
Yeah,
it's just not how I move through the world.
yeah.
And
You're in
this
red.
container is so sacred for me um, that I don't want it to be rudimentary or arbitrary in any way. So thank you for reminding me that like I am on my path, and
You
this is
are.
one big improv.
Amen. This whole thing, right up until the biggest improv of all, which is death. Whatever happens after that, we don't know. We're a yes and or
That's a whole nother episode.
uh, Gil, thank you so much. I'm so impressed by you. I will listen to you
Thank
while
you.
I sleep, which is what I do with podcasts.
Thank
Your
you.
voice is beautiful. Um,
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be on this. I had a lot of imposter syndrome coming into this a little bit, and I'm so glad that
But how are you feeling now?
um great.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
great, and I feel like I just enjoyed this so much, and we could talk for hours.
Yeah.
But recorded, non-recorded. But it's just so good to talk to people who get that this thing we're interested in, which is change, transformation, agility, resilience, all the different words around it, all the buzzwords. Like it really comes down to this human thing,
Yeah.
and we're all taking we're all using the superpowers given to us. Your gorgeous voice,
Thank you. Thank you.
my strange humor, and we're all using it to help people figure that piece out. And that's such a fun dent in the universe to
Yeah.
have. So, hey, let's keep doing it.
Let's keep doing it. Awesome. Well, thank you again. I hope you have a great holiday, the little ones. And I look forward to connecting more in 2026 for sure. And thanks for, oh my God, thanks for such a memorable round out of season 9.
Season 9. Check that box.
Absolutely. Totally. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.